Hello, everyone. Welcome to SmartHQ service training. Really appreciate you joining us. My name is Telema Harry. I'm the director for the SmartHQ service program here at GE Appliances. I think there are quite a few out there who are already familiar with me or have interacted with me or other members of the team. And for those of you who are new to the SmartHQ service ecosystem, I would like to welcome you. Thank you for dialing in, and we are really happy to have you. Just want to take you really quickly to the lab to have Anitha introduce herself. Anitha is a key member of the team, and I just wanted her to come on camera for a minute.
Hi everybody, my name is Anitha Sudalai Kannu. I'm the Software Quality Assurance Engineer for SmartHQ service. As you can see, I'm in the lab in Appliance Park in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you all for joining us and have a wonderful training session. Thank you.
So Anitha is a member of the team that has been part of this program from day one. We've been building this system for the last 3 or 4 years now, and I think we're confident that we have built this system into the best-in-class diagnostic solution for appliances in the industry. So we're super excited about that, and as a result of some of this success, GE has continued to invest in us, continue to believe in us, and allow us to expand in terms of our team and in terms of our scope. So to that end, we've actually been able to bring a new talent onto the team, a very important new talent onto the team. His name is Juan Morales. He comes to us from Samsung, where he was a sort of key player in their technical training, both on the digital side, so digital distribution, and in-person training, and we are really happy to have been able to bring him onto our team. So he is going to be the one that's actually going to be doing all the training going forward. He's going to be leading our training efforts and leading our communication with our customer base, and we're, like I said, just super happy to have him. So today, Juan is going to cover a few topics, obviously related to SmartHQ service. He's going to be talking about really practical applications of SmartHQ service. So Juan's background is in service. He's been a service technician. He knows all the ins and outs. And so he's going to come at this from that perspective. So he's going to cover some topics. One is going to be firmware update and the benefits of firmware update and how firmware updates can actually fix appliances. He's going to talk about operate loads and how it can be used to fix weak cooling or no cool problems on refrigerators. And then he's also going to talk about this very powerful cycle history feature, which allows you to understand how appliances have been used actually prior to you entering the home. So as opposed to having to rely on the consumer to give you information, you actually know how the appliance has been behaving because you have a data logger. So without any more ado, Juan, take it away, and thank you. Enjoy the presentation, everyone.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, Telma, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, Anitha. Again, my name is Juan Morales, Senior Staff Field Application Engineer for SmartHQ service here at GE Appliances. It is an absolute pleasure to be with all of you, and especially my good friends over in the West Coast. I know it's early morning for you guys out there, so thanks for tuning in. And today we have a very special show for you. We're going to be talking about the SmartHQ service, and just like our director, Telma Harry, mentioned, we're going to teach you how you can leverage this application to help you improve your serviceability, right? In particular, we're going to focus on two major things. The first one is going to be how to make you more efficient as a servicer out there in the field. And the second is, of course, going to be how to lower your operating costs. Because if you could do all that, what I want to do is I want to summarize this entire presentation in a single sentence, okay, for everyone out there. If you can become more efficient by increasing your first-time completion rate, you can dramatically lower the costs of operating your business, and that will in turn make you much, much more profitable. So that is what's going to be the key focus today, how to make you more profitable by leveraging our SmartHQ service application. Now, before we go on, I want to quickly go over and transition over to our opening slide here where we have the website, right? The smarthqservice.com website. This is where you can find information related to everything that has to do with the SmartHQ service tool. You'll find training videos, you will find how to place an order, and much, much more information. In addition to that, you can also call us anytime at 502-714-2029 so that if you have any questions or if you want to, again, place an order for your SmartHQ service device, you can contact us right here. All right, my friends? So again, we have a lot of material to cover, so let's go ahead and quickly get started. And the first thing we want to do is, of course, mention our mission statement. And that is to leverage existing GE appliance service software systems and documentation to deliver efficiency gains to independent service technicians through an easy-to-use mobile portal. And one of the things that you're going to hear me mention throughout this training is that this is an application that has been utilized by our GE factory service technicians for many, many years, okay? But now we are making it available to you, the independent servicer, because we understand the challenges that you face out there in the field, especially with some of our more complex products. You want to be able to fix them easily, quickly, diagnose, get in and out of the house as quickly as possible. And the most important thing, my friends, you want to be able to do it in a single service visit if possible. Okay, we're going to teach you how to do that today. So going back to the agenda here, again, we're going to talk about firmware updates. And my focus here is going to be how to help you increase your first-time completion rate. All right. Then we're going to get into refrigerator weak cooling diagnosis. And as Telma mentioned, we're going to talk about the Watchbox monitoring feature and operate loads. And these two features are going to help us instantly diagnose what's wrong with the refrigerator that's behind me. So my friends, this unit that I have behind me here, it's a GE profile fridge. It is actually exhibiting a weak cooling symptom. Okay, there's actually a problem with the fridge. And I'm going to show you today how we're going to diagnose it very quickly. And one of the first things you're going to notice is that I'm going to keep the doors closed, okay? You might be wondering, why are you going to keep the doors closed? How are you going to find out what's going on inside? But just like magic, you're going to see how this application will take care of all that, okay? And of course, last but not least, we're going to talk about the cycle history feature, which is going to primarily help us resolve NDF cases, no defect found cases. And if you've been in the industry as long as I have, you know very well that many times we go out to our customers' homes and they have a complaint about a product. But when you get there and you start doing some diagnosis of the product, you find out that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So, we go ahead and tell the customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, unfortunately, I couldn't find any defects. Your product seems to be working okay. So I don't really know what to tell you. There's nothing wrong with it. The customer, if they don't know you, they're probably not going to trust you right away. So they might say, oh, okay, fine, there's nothing wrong. But maybe a few days later, right, you might receive that second call where they say, you know what, Mr. Technician, I still see the same issue. Can you please come back? And because most servicers guarantee their work for 30, 60, 90 days, the second or third time you go out there is going to be on your own time. So what we want to do is teach you how to use SmartHQ service to prevent those unnecessary second trips. All right. So that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and introduce the system for those of you that may have never seen it before. So what I'm showing you here is, of course, an iPhone with the app already loaded. And one thing I want to mention is that this SmartHQ service application works with both Android and iOS devices. That is very, very important because that's going to prevent you from having to purchase additional hardware. Now, the SmartHQ Service app is a universal mobile GE appliance service utility, which is based on a PC application that, again, has been used by GE factory service technicians for many, many years. All right. SmartHQ Service was designed explicitly for you, the independent servicer, so that you could take advantage of all the things that GE factory service technicians have had available to them for all this time. And also, as Telma mentioned earlier, we are continuously reinvesting into this app, okay? So anytime that you give us feedback, or you maybe give us a suggestion for a feature that you'd like to see added to the app, we take all that into consideration and we engage our engineering teams to try to improve the app. Okay, so this is not like this is the end of the app. We're going to continue to improve it to make it better for you so that it makes your life much, much easier. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the system itself. At the heart of it all is our Bluetooth module. So this is a piece of hardware that you will need in order to be able to connect your mobile device to the appliance via Bluetooth. Now, what's nice about this is that all you need to connect the Bluetooth module to your appliance is just an ordinary RJ45 cable. And our appliances, our GE appliances, whether it's a GE Profile, a Monogram, Cafe, they have an RJ45 port, and it's most of the time very easily accessible. So I'll give you an example right here. What I'm showing is a side-by-side high-end Monogram refrigerator, which of course is built in. Now, this piece of equipment is a monster, right? And for you to have to move it out of its point of installation, good luck. But SmartHQ service and the design teams have made it so that all you need to do, for example, on this unit, is simply flip the top cover up, boom, just like that. And right there, next to where the customer would install the water filter, right there is the port for the RJ45 cable. So again, my friends, GE Appliances has taken you into consideration. We understand that you don't want to have to go through extra work to connect this service tool to the appliances. You already have enough on your plate. We understand that. So we've made it so that our appliances have the port easily accessible. So I'll give you an example right here. Again, behind me is a GE Profile fridge. For time purposes, I've already connected my Bluetooth module to it. So here's the RJ45 cable, and the other end of it is right behind the top middle cover. So no disassembly, no tools, maybe just a steps tool for me because I'm a little short just to reach behind the back, but that's about it. All right, it's very, very easy to access that port. It literally takes just seconds. And once you connect, now you're able to communicate with the appliance, just like this technician over here is communicating with the fridge, right? Technician is asking, hey, how's your compressor doing? The fridge is saying, I'm doing great, thanks. And just like that, you will be able to talk to the unit. And that's very, very important because when you want to know what's wrong with the unit, you need to talk to it, right? You need to diagnose it to find out exactly what's going on. In addition to diagnostic features, you also have access to cloud-based service documentation. And this is huge, my friends, because whenever you need, for example, service manuals, schematic diagrams, service bulletin information, whatever the case may be, you typically have to go to the service website and search through thousands of documents, right? Or you can call tech support and you can get the information that way as well. But with SmartHQ service, you have that information instantly available to you right at your fingertips on your mobile device, because SmartHQ will pull only the information related to that product because you're connecting to that product. Okay, so it makes it much, much easier, much, much faster for you to access documents like schematic diagrams, service bulletins, and all of that good stuff, okay? So that being said, my friends, that's basically the SmartHQ service system. And again, a lot of this information, you can find more detail on our website, smarthqservice.com, all right? Now, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes now of this YouTube live session, which the first topic, as I mentioned before, is going to be firmware updates. So again, I just want to mention real quick, firmware updates are typically utilized to resolve most software-related issues. And you can do that, right? And if you do it right, you can actually fix the customer's product in a single service visit. And that's what we want you to be able to do, because as you could see down there, the third bullet point I have, the average visit, right, on a national scale, it's costing you around $107 to send your technician out there just to look at the unit, not to change anything or parts, just to put that technician in the customer's home is costing about $107 when you take into consideration gas, salary, car maintenance, all that stuff. So if we can help you eliminate those unnecessary second service visits, we can help you increase your profits. And of course, SmartHQ service has been designed to do exactly that. So if we go back over here, you'll see on the dashboard of this screen capture that SmartHQ service has immediately alerted, in this particular case, alerted us that there is a firmware update available. Now, what this allows us to do is to know that we have to perform that update And in the event that the fix is related, for example, to a service bulletin, right, that the service bulletin is telling us, hey, to fix this, in this case, this false hot water error, you have to do a firmware update. We could do the fix right then and there. No need to come back with multiple boards if you have to replace a board, or sometimes you even have to order a software update module, right? A lot of you that have done service for us know that some of these service bulletins require you to order a software update module. And of course, that costs money, but not so much the money of the price of the module itself. It takes time for that module to come in, and you have to visit the customer a second time. So we eliminate, by using SmartHQ service, we eliminate the need to order that software update module, or the need to have to replace a board, or in some cases, multiple boards on the appliance, all right? So what I wanna do, my friends, now is I wanna go ahead and transition to this camera where you can actually see my iPad, and we're gonna go ahead and connect right now to the appliance in real time. So everything, just wanna show you here, everything that is happening on my iPad, because this is a live demonstration, you're gonna see it right here on the screen as well, bigger, so that you can read what's going on, all right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this down for a second while it's connecting. And again, it should only take a few seconds to extract the data from the refrigerator to the iPad so that I can see what's going on. And one of the first, the first screen you're gonna see is going to be the dashboard. And once this loads, we're gonna be able to find out if this unit needs a firmware update or not, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look. It's retrieving the appliance properties. And the firmware update status is loading. And as we could see, there it is. We need a firmware update for this unit. And that's really nice because guess what? I didn't have to look on the service website. I didn't have to call tech support to tell me that I need a firmware update. I know instantly that I need an update to fix something on this unit or to make it better in some cases. Hold on to that thought because I'm going to explain one more thing after I'm done with this little demo here. So what do you do in this case? Once you see that the firmware update is available, if you want to perform the update, you simply tap on it, and then you can hit the start key and the update will begin. All right. As we could see over here in the update summary, we could see that you actually, or this update will actually affect two boards, right? It's going to update two PCBs that you would normally, without this tool, have to replace. And again, the alternative is also to order that software update module, but that will require you to place the order, wait for the module to come in, and then for you to visit that customer a second time. And again, that's costing you money, and not to mention inconveniencing the customer because they have to be home again. Maybe they have to take off from work. Who knows, right? It's a very bad situation that you can resolve simply by doing the update right then and there, okay? So what I want to do right now is actually show you how easy it is to perform that update with a short video clip that we have put together. And this example you're going to see is on a dishwasher, but the process is exactly the same for all of our products. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Once your device is connected, SmartHQ service will detect if an update is required. No need to check the website or call anyone for support. SmartHQ service eliminates all of the guesswork. And remember, it works with both Android and iOS devices. And now, let's start that update. From the dashboard screen, click Next. Click the Firmware Update button, and details about the update will populate on your screen. Click Start. Press and hold Yes for 3 seconds to confirm you'd like to start the update. SmartHQ service will automatically update both boards 1 and 2. Upon successful completion, you will see this confirmation message. Now, simply click Done and you're all set. All right, my friends, and there you have it. That is how simple it is to perform that update. And guess what? It only takes minutes and you could do it in a single service visit. Now, I want to mention one more thing about the firmware update feature that you can use to actually improve your ratings, right? Your online ratings that your customers give you. We all know that now when we're looking for a service technician out there, we typically research that servicer, right? And this could be any service. It doesn't have to be an appliance repair service technician. It could be a construction worker, whatever, right? We typically look on Google reviews or Yelp or any of that good stuff to find out, if this servicer is is good or not, and we look at the ratings. So what better way to increase your ratings than by going above and beyond, right? And let me give you an example. We have ovens out there, ovens and ranges, that if you perform a firmware update on them, you will actually add a feature called air fryer, right? An air fryer functionality to that oven so that you can cook healthy meals and, less calories, all that good stuff, right? Now that a lot of people are into health and fitness, this is a really, really good thing to have on your oven. So let's just say that hypothetically speaking, you're out there fixing an oven, replacing a heating element or a temperature sensor, something, and you fix it, and then you also do the update and you tell your customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I fixed a unit, it works to perfection, but in addition to that, I was able to add a feature called air fryer, so now your oven will also give you the capability of an air fryer. And isn't that going to be great? Because your customer is going to say, wow, this technician, not only did he fix my unit, but he also went above and beyond and made it better. So that customer is going to give you 5 stars. You can also leverage the function, the firmware update function, to make yourself a few bucks, right? While you're there, you might want to tell the customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I just fixed your oven, and I noticed that there's an update that's going to add this extra feature, this air fryer. Would you like me to do it? It's going to cost you, whatever, $30, $40, and I could do it in a matter of 5 minutes, just a couple minutes. Most of the time, because you're already there, your customer is going to go ahead and say, yeah, go ahead and do it, because you're there, right? They don't want you to come back, or they don't want to bother with having to do it themselves. So if you can do that, even, let me just put it in perspective, once a month, right? If you didn't use the tool at all for anything else except to do one firmware update once a month and you charge $30, $40, right there, you covered your cost of your monthly subscription. It's just that easy, right? Use it twice and you're already making money for yourself. So very, very powerful tool. All right, let's go ahead and quickly transition over to our second topic of the day, which is weak cooling diagnosis. Now, with weak cooling, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because there is so many different things that could cause this, right? You could have air infiltration, you could have some kind of a defrost issue, you could have a sealed system problem. Who knows? It's very challenging, and I love challenges. But one thing I also like to do is to be able to diagnose and assess the situation real quick, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, before I show you, let me point out here how typically service technicians do this out in the field. When technicians go out, especially skilled technicians, when they go out and they try to figure out why a refrigerator is not cooling properly, some of them will actually take the time to pull the unit out of its point of installation, remove the rear cover to expose the main board, and then measure each thermistor individually with their multimeter. Now, this process, it's extremely complex. Let me be the first to tell you. I did it for a while. I tried it. It's effective as long as you keep the doors closed, by the way. You got to keep the doors closed. It's effective, but it is extremely complex because you need to know exactly where to place your multimeter leads. So you have to have access to the schematic diagram. And then not only do you need to acquire all the electrical values, but you have to convert them to a temperature value, whether that's Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever you're most comfortable with. So the alternative to that, and I'm guilty of doing this myself, is most technicians, and again, I've done this, is they'll bust out Mr. Infrared thermometer, right? And they'll start shooting away at different areas of the fridge. So obviously to accomplish this, you need to open the fridge doors. And let me tell you, my friends, as soon as you do that, you may as well throw your hands up in the air and start guessing, because you're probably going to have more accuracy that way. Let me explain. When you open the refrigerator doors, it's not like you're opening the doors to your house. It's like you're taking an entire wall or the roof off of your home, and then all that warm air that's outside is going to go inside. It's going to warm up everything. It's going to mess up all the internal temperature values, and then that's why it's not an accurate way to do it, okay? As you can see right here, depending where you point that infrared thermometer, you're going to have different temperature values, which obviously are not going to be accurate. So what are we going to do? We're going to show you how you can utilize the SmartHQ service app to instantly acquire all the internal temperature values. Because remember, what I want to do here today is I want to obtain an accurate assessment of the situation before I take anything apart. All right, before I start removing the shelves, taking the food out, all that, I want to know if I really need to do that. So let me go ahead and show you how that's done. And actually, let's go ahead and show you on the screen over here where I can show you in real time, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to show you the actual live demo. So what you're going to do from the dashboard screen, you're going to press the button labeled Next. And now you see the 3 lines up there. We call that the hamburger button. Looks like a little burger. You're going to press it, and you're going to see instantly all the internal temperature values appear. So every thermistor value, like magic, right? Through my Bluetooth connectivity to the refrigerator, I'm going to be able to see them right here on the iPad. So let me go ahead and put this down just so I can point some things out here on my computer. Take a look at the fresh food thermistor all the way at the top. Right off the bat, I can see that the temperature is 53 degrees Fahrenheit in the fridge compartment, and that is excessively high for a fridge compartment. That's why your customer is complaining about their food spoiling, the eggs smelling really foul, right? Or maybe, I don't know, whatever, their vegetables not crispy anymore, things like that. So there's your weak cooling, right, in the fridge section. But let me investigate further, and we're going to go down the line. The freezer thermistor is showing minus 10 degrees, so that's pretty cold. That's telling me that the sealed system is probably okay in that area. So perhaps I have a restriction, who knows? But let me continue to investigate. If I go down over here and I look at the fresh food evap and freezer evap thermistor, I can see that both thermistors are extremely low in temperature, which tells me that my sealed system is actually channeling liquid refrigerant to both evaporator coils. So I don't think I have a sealed system problem. My hunch is that I have some kind of either an air infiltration problem or some kind of airflow issue, right? And that could be because maybe the customer has packed the refrigerator with food and it's blocking the vents, or one of the fans isn't working, who knows? So at this point, we already obtained an accurate assessment of the situation. Now we're going to do something about it. Now, before we move on, I want to show you another feature here real quick, which is the Info and Settings button. So when you click on that, you can actually click Set Points, and you can see what your customer has set their fridge to, because maybe they set it to demo mode, or maybe they set the temperatures real high. Who knows? But I'm going to find out right now. Clearly, I can see that my consumer set point for the fresh food is 37 degrees. And for the freezer is 0. So no fault on the customer's end. They're doing everything right. There's a problem with the fridge. So let's go back over here. And the next feature I'm going to show you is the Operate Loads feature. Okay, that's this little button right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And the reason I want to activate the Operate Loads feature is because I want to be able to have control of the components so I can test them. And one of the components I want to test, or some of the components I want to test, are going to be the fans, right? To make sure that we have airflow. Because remember, without proper airflow, you won't have efficient cooling. So let me go ahead and do that over here. But before I can do that, all right, one more thing I want to point out to you. In order for this to become your, let's call it remote control for the appliance, you need to click on the Enter Service Mode button. Now that I clicked on it, I hear a small click over here. Now the screen turns red and I have full control of this appliance. The appliance is not controlling itself anymore. I'm controlling it via my iPad. And again, the only reason I'm using an iPad is because this is what I have available to me, but I could have also been using an Android device, because remember, SmartHQ service works on both platforms, Android and iOS. So let me go ahead and click the fans button, and I will go ahead and point over here in my computer so you can see what's going on. So I have the option to click all fans on, and that's going to activate every single fan in the refrigerator. Condenser fan, the freezer evap, all that stuff. Or if I wanted to, I could activate each fan individually. But in this case, because I want to find out if all the fans are working, I'm just going to activate them all at the same time. So on the iPad, I will hit all fans on. There it is. And you will see the load status on every single one of the fans change. All right, let me show you. So the load status on the freezer evaporator fan has now changed to high, because the main board is sending the most amount of voltage to the fan so that it runs at the fastest speed, at the highest speed. And the way that I know that that fan is running is by the RPM reading that is here below. So it's about 2,400 RPM. So this is telling me the freezer evap fan is operating correctly. We go down to the condenser fan and we see the load status is high, and we also get an RPM reading, which indicates to me the condenser fan is also running. But when we go to the fresh food evap fan, right, it's been on for about 37 seconds. The load status is high, but I have 0 RPM. And this means my main board is trying, right? The main board is sending voltage to the fan, but the fan is just not cooperating. Now, Whether that is because the fan is stuck with ice buildup or there's a loose wire connection or something else, I have to be a technician at this point and investigate. But SmartHQ service has pointed me in the right direction in a matter of seconds, and now I know exactly what's going on with the unit. Okay. Now I know for a fact that the reason for my weak cooling condition in the refrigerator compartment is related to the fan, and I can fix it. All right. So that's really what I wanted to show you, my friends, how simple it is for you to use the SmartHQ service application to do that. I'm just going to turn off the fans for a second here. But what about in the event that you have a condition like a noise complaint, okay, where your customer is stating that they have some kind of intermittent noise? Let me tell you, with noise complaints, Murphy's Law states that as you're driving to the customer's home, the noise will be present. The customer will be hearing it, right? Whatever that noise is, rattling, gurgling, whatever. The second you park your van in front of the, on the street in front of the customer's house and walk in, guess what? That noise will magically disappear. And you could be there 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 hours. The noise will never come back. The second you leave the customer's home and you get into your van and drive off into the sunset, guess what? The noise is going to come back. That's just the nature of the beast. You know that. I know that. We all know that, right? It just happens. So we're going to have control of that situation. And to do that, of course, we are going to go ahead and activate, in this case, I'm going to just sort of speculate that the noise is related to a fan, right? I'm going to activate each fan individually to find out which one is giving me trouble. So let's just close our eyes for a second and pretend we're standing in front of the customer. And we say, all right, Mrs. or Mrs. Customer, you said there's some kind of rattling noise, right? So let me go ahead and start by turning on the freezer evaporator fan on high. In this case, we're doing one at a time so you can pinpoint where the issue is. And the fan runs and the customer is like, nah, that's not it. That's not the noise. So we say, all right, let's go ahead and turn it off. Wait a couple seconds. And you simply go down the line. So the next fan I'm going to activate is a condenser fan. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on high. And as soon as that load status goes high and you get RPMs, that means the fan is spinning, there's the noise. And the customer is going to say, yes, that's right. That's the noise that I've been hearing. And it happens, every so often. So at this point, you know exactly where the noise is coming from. You know the source of the noise, and you're able to fix it. Again, in a matter of seconds, we were able to pinpoint exactly the source of the problem so that we can address it very, very quickly. All right. So very powerful tool. I'm going to go ahead and turn all the fans off. Very powerful, very easy to use tool, which you can use for many, many things. All right. That being said, my friends, we've shown you how to assess the situation by looking at the internal temperature values. We've shown you how to check for fan operation. And again, if you've noticed, I haven't taken out a single tool except my iPad, and I have not opened the fridge doors at all throughout the presentation. These doors have remained closed the entire time. But what about a case where you have a situation where nothing is failing, right? All the electrical components seem to be working fine, but yet you still have some kind of abnormal temperature. So your fans are working, your compressor is working, but you have some sort of temperature complaint. So in this case, it could be a seal system, right? It could be maybe your diverter valve is not channeling the refrigerant correctly. Who knows? So for those situations, we have a test that is a diagnostic test. Okay. Now, before I show you that, I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself a little bit. So hold on to that thought. Before I show you that, I want to quickly show you from operate loads perspective one more test that you can one more example of how you can utilize this feature, and we're going to show you this by showing you how this is done on a dishwasher. Okay, so my friends, let's take a look at the dishwasher example real quick, and here we go.
To run this test, click Next and select Operate Loads. Enter Service Mode and click Operate Loads. Next, activate the water valve test to allow water to enter the dishwasher. While the unit fills, let's open up the watch box so we can monitor other components. By looking at the temperature, turbidity, and water pressure sensor values, we can determine if these components are operating correctly. A rise in temperature indicates the thermistor is detecting hot water is coming into the unit. The turbidity value tells us that the water is relatively clear. And lastly, a drop in pressure frequency confirms that water is indeed entering the unit. Now, using the circulation pump test, we can activate each wash area individually. Let's start with the lower spray arm and let it run for approximately 15 seconds. We'll turn it off and move on to the upper spray arm. Finally, let's activate the silverware wash area. As we can see, every wash area is operating correctly.
All right, my friends, and there you have it. That is how simple it is to utilize the operate loads feature to test the spray arms on that, the circulation pump motor, right, on that dishwasher. And just like we saw on the refrigerator example, we also demonstrated there how for the dishwasher, you also have a watch box feature that allows you to monitor components like the turbidity sensor, the thermistor, and the pressure sensor, right? All that good stuff. So really, really powerful tool. Make sure you take advantage of it when you do have this application available to you. All right, my friends. So I got really worked up with talking about diagnostics and weak cooling, so kind of jumped the gun there, but let me go back to that right now. And again, I want to talk about the situation where you might have no electrical failures and yet you still have a problem with your refrigerator not cooling properly. So for this, we're going to go ahead and go back here and show you how you can enter what's called diagnostic tests. So we're hitting the back key over here. Let's hit it one more time. And we're going to go ahead and move to diagnostic tests. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And that takes me to the diagnostic tests section of SmartHQ service. So here, what I can do is I can activate the cooling test, and this is going to check the entire seal system, the compressor, the three-way diverter valve, all that stuff. Within this menu, I also have access to the extended mode test, which is the heating elements and the ice maker, but we're going to leave those two for a different session sometime in the near future. Let's go ahead and activate the cooling test. And before we go ahead and run it, what I want to point out is a couple things over here just so that you can see what's happening, okay? So again, the components that I can activate with this test are going to be the three-way valve to be able to shift my refrigerant anywhere I want it to go, and of course the compressor and the condenser fan at high speed. So what I want to do here first is I want to switch the valve position. You notice how it is currently, it says both closed. I don't want that valve to be closed because if I activate my compressor, the refrigerant is not going to go it's not going to go anywhere. I want to actually send it to the freezer and fresh food areas to make sure that I have, proper cooling. So I'm going to go ahead and click, well, not on the computer, but on the iPad, fresh food and freezer, and you'll see my status here for the valve position. It is going to change to fresh food and freezer. There we go. Now, at this point, I can go ahead and start my compressor, but I want to walk you through some of the instructions that SmartHQ service gives us here, right? Instruction number 1 asks us to, before running this test, to check for any fault codes. Now, this is very smart because if you caught the dashboard screen at the beginning of the presentation, you will have noticed that SmartHQ service alerted us of a fault code related to fan feedback error. And right then and there, we would have known that the problem for this fridge in particular is related to the fan not operating, right? But what's really nice about this is that SmartHQ alerts you of this even right here, right? Before you start to run any other tests, it says, hey, hold a minute before you start doing anything more complex. Check for the simple things, right? Like fault codes. And in instruction number 2, they actually ask us to check the door gaskets, right? The door seals. So maybe I just have air coming into the unit, right? Warm air, and that could be my issue. So if you think about it, right? SmartHQ service is like having a technical support agent with you at all times, right? It's exactly that because you have all this information available to you. Now, let's take a look at instruction number 3 because that one's very important. clearly it tells us here that after setting the valve to an open position, we need to wait 3 minutes to equalize the pressure, and then you can start the compressor. This is very important because if I was to just select fresh food and freezer for the 3-way valve and start the compressor, I could cause some issues within the seal system. But the instructions tell us that we need to hold off 3 minutes, which is why I strategically clicked on that button first so that I could explain these things to you. And now we're ready to start the test. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So again, I'm going to go over here. We're going to click this button labeled compressor and condenser high speed. So I'm going to do it on the iPad. Boom, there it is. And now I heard the click, I hear the compressor running, and of course the fan too. Now, the way that I know that it's working is I could hear it, but obviously visually you can also see that by looking at the status. So my condenser fan is running at high speed, and I have an RPM reading, which means the fan is good. My sealed system valve position is in the fresh food and freezer position, which is good. So I should get liquid refrigerant flowing to both areas of the fridge. And of course, my compressor is on, and it's been on for about 26 seconds. Now, what I want to show you is this right here. These two temperature values, fresh food evap and freezer evap, they are at about 0 degrees and -5 degrees. So what I'm expecting, right, in a few minutes, in a few short minutes, what I'm expecting is for those two temperatures to drop significantly in about 5 minutes, all right? So what you're going to see is in this column right here, status, these two temperatures are going to remain constant. But in this column that says value, these two temperatures will begin to drop. And we can already see a drop in temperature, slight drop in temperature. And this thing has only been running for about a minute. We're about halfway, well, maybe more than halfway, about 3/4 of the way through the presentation. I want to go ahead and point out our contact information. So for those of you that want to place an order, if you want to do it right now, you can either visit our website, smarthqservice.com, or you can call us at 502-714-2029. And in our website, smarthqservice.com, you're going to find a lot of useful information, not just how to order the SmartHQ service device and app, but also there's a lot of training videos, okay? I'll get into that in a second, but I also want to point out our email address for our thousands of users that are currently out there using this device. First of all, thank you for being a loyal customer. You can email us with any questions at smarthqservice.support@geappliances.com. Or you can also write to us. Our physical address is GE Appliance Park, AP5-2N-67 in sunny Louisville, Kentucky, 40225, all right? Now, let's go ahead and talk about the website because the website has a lot of cool information. And of course, as I mentioned, you can order this application and device right from our website. Simply click that Order Now button, and you'll get information about pricing, availability, all that stuff. But you can also browse through our website to look through a plethora of training videos. And one thing I want to tell you, folks, is we don't have, there's no instructional guide or instruction manual for SmartHQ service because the app itself is so intuitive, right? It's so easy to use. It's like, I don't have Facebook, but maybe you have Facebook out there. Do you need a manual for it? Or you just kind of navigate through it, right? You know how to use it, right? So the same thing, SmartHQ service is so easy to utilize that there is no instructional guide. However, we do have training videos for the more complex features like, like some of the ones that I showed today. These are detailed step-by-step videos that show you how to get the most out of your SmartHQ service application. And of course, we also have a message from our President and CEO, Mr. Kevin Nolan, who highly endorses this program, and customer testimonials, right? These are actual customers that are currently using our SmartHQ service platform to enhance their serviceability, and they've been very, very successful. And you can see their stories in our customer testimonial section of the SmartHQ service website, all right? So that being said, my friends, let's go back to this test and see where we are at, all right? Because we are now at about 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and let's go ahead and point at the temperatures. Look at this. The fresh food evaporator temperature started at about 0, and we are now at -11, almost -12 degrees Fahrenheit. The freezer evap started at -5, and we're about -17. That is an excellent indication that my sealed system is working properly, that I'm channeling refrigerant correctly, and that there are no sealed system issues whatsoever. Now, what's really nice about this, okay, is you can actually leverage this particular function right here to show your customer, right? Mr. and Mrs. Customer, what I just did right now is I fixed your sealed system. Let's just say you fix a sealed system. And I'm verifying that everything's working correctly. Here's your temperature values. Everything's cooling. And in a matter of hours, your refrigerator should be back to normal. This is really nice because a lot of the times when we do sealed system repairs or when we want to diagnose, you know what we do, right? We take out all the food, remove all the shelves, to expose the evaporators, and that takes a lot of time. And the reason we do that is so we can view the frost pattern. But with SmartHQ service, you don't have to do that because right here, I can clearly tell my temperatures are low, so that means refrigerant is going to those areas of the refrigerator. Saves you a lot of time and also instantly elevates your credibility with your customer because now the customer has the assurance that the product has been successfully repaired. All right, so very, very powerful tool. All right, let's go ahead and shut this off so we don't overdrive the unit. And let's transition back here. And that was basically it for weak cooling diagnosis, my friends. There's, of course, other ways we can diagnose weak cooling symptoms. And we're going to talk about that in future sessions, just like this one. All right. So now what I want to talk about is the last topic, which is the cycle history feature. And I want to point out over here first, a data log that we've actually captured on a refrigerator, okay? Now, before we get too much into the details, I want to explain that when you extract the data, when I extracted the data on my device from this refrigerator, it is actually logging the usage history of the appliance for the last 60 hours, okay? So, I'm sorry, 6 days. I'm confusing the numbers here, 6 days. So what that means is that whatever the customer has done with the unit in the past 6 days, I'm going to know about it, okay? One example that I show right here is, of course, the minutes the doors have been left open, okay? And in this case, I'm showing here that the doors were left open for 7 minutes on the fresh food door, approximately an hour ago. So I would expect a slight rise in temperature there, okay? Maybe not so much, but ever so slightly. Now, if you leave the door open 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because maybe the kids forgot to shut the door, then of course you're going to have a very high temperature. And I can further see that by looking at the temperature values over the past, over the past 6 days. But I'm more of a graphical guy. I don't like too much numbers. I could see better with a graphical view. So SmartHQ service allows me to do that. I can actually see the temperatures as they went up and down throughout the past few days, right? As I mentioned before. And I can tell if there's any kind of abnormality as far as how the customer has been using their appliance. Again, one of the common things that we see out there is, especially now, a lot of families, are starting to gather and come together. And it's, people open the refrigerator doors many, many times. So warm air goes inside and raises the temperature. And that could be perceived as a defect when in reality, it's not. That's one of those no defect found cases that you could easily explain to your customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, your refrigerator is cooling properly, but the door was accidentally left open for 20 minutes, X amount of hours ago. And then they could say, oh, yeah, that's right. I had the neighbor kids over. They were in the pool. They came inside, took out snacks, and they forgot to shut the door. So something along those lines, okay? Now, let me give you a really, really good example that I've run into many, many times. You probably know this one better than I do. Dishes coming out wet on a dishwasher. Okay, this is a pain to be able to explain this to a customer because wet dishes or even dirty dishes on a dishwasher could result from a number of things. One of them could be the customer didn't use enough rinse aid, or they didn't place the dishes in the right position. Who knows, right? A variety of things. But for us to be able to explain this to a customer, especially the first time we've met them, right? They don't know who we are. Like, customer doesn't know who I am. Why should this customer trust me? It's going to be very difficult. I'm going to have to be very tactful and very clear with my explanation. And unfortunately, some of us don't have that talent, right? I've seen technicians tell the customer, hey, it's your fault. You selected the wrong cycle, or you're not using right detergent. And that customer's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that I'm not using my appliance correctly? It was working fine a few days ago, and now it's broken, and you're telling me it's my fault? So that leads to confrontations, and worst of all, that could lead to multiple repair visits. Because again, if you don't explain it correctly, your customer is probably going to call you back within a few days complaining about the same exact thing. And there you are again on your own dime in that customer's house. But with the SmartHQ service application, I'm going to show you right here on this particular example how this customer simply selected the wrong cycle. And the way you can prove that is by pulling up the usage data. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom here. You could see that the oldest cycle, right, ran for about 185 minutes. And as we move along, the red line indicates the cycle duration in minutes. We see that the previous 4 cycles ran for 180 minutes on average. And here you go. The last cycle only ran for 60 minutes. All right, 60 minutes. And that is because the customer selected, let me get out of here for a second. The customer selected the express cycle that one time. So before that, cycle number 23, 24, 25, 26, the customer selected the automatic cycle, which engages the drying function. But the last one, either accidentally or on purpose, they engaged the express cycle. They select that, which only ran for 60 minutes and, of course, doesn't engage the drying feature of the dishwasher. So just like that, my friends, you are able to explain to your customer, you show them on your device, right? You take out your tablet and you show them the cycle history. Here we're showing that clearly you used the express cycle the last time you used your dishwasher, and that's why the dishes came out wet. But let me show you how you can prevent that from happening. And then, of course, you educate them and your customer will be really happy. But if you don't do that, again, if you just simply tell them, nothing wrong with your unit, ma'am, everything's fine, what's going to happen is one of two things. They're either going to call you back, or worse, as you walk away, they're going to say, you know what, I don't trust this guy. I'm going to call another service center. When that second servicer comes in, right, we have Mr. Technician over here. He is armed with the SmartHQ service app. He is clearly explaining to this customer what the issue is, right? Customer is convinced because she's looking here at the tablet that she used the express cycle. And now, guess what, my friends? Now that customer trusts that technician, and the one that was your customer has become their customer. All right. So don't let that happen to you. Make sure that you're equipped with this SmartHQ service application and that you're able to utilize it and use it, leverage it as much as you can to get the most out of it. Okay. So again, my friends, I want to recap today's presentation. We talked about the firmware update feature. We talked about weak cooling diagnosis. And of course, this final feature, which is the cycle history, which all of these things combined can help you become more efficient and, of course, lower your operating costs. All of this put together, my friends, is going to make you much, much more profitable, okay? So please give us a call, visit our website, and make sure you order this today, all right? Alrighty, my friends, it looks like the time is up for us, but I want to thank you so much for watching. Please tune in next time. We're going to have more of these presentations coming up, so look out for our emails. And also take a look at our YouTube channel, right? SmartHQ Service. There we have all of this information, all of these training videos available to you as well, all right? So once again, my friends, please continue to be safe out there. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you next time.